They erased our cities, our skies, our name. Long ago, the architects of the void descended from the stars, not with rage, not with fire, but with silence. They did not conquer, they corrected. Worlds were not invaded, they were edited. And humanity was deleted. No war, no resistance, just silence. And when it was done, the architects wrote their perfect empire across the stars, clean and precise. Every world a reflection of order, every voice speaking in harmony, every memory of Earth, a myth. But myths are dangerous because sometimes they wake up. And now, something has stirred. A signal, a spark, a man, one life, standing alone on a forgotten moon, breathing air no one should breathe, carrying memories no one should have. The architects don't understand him, which means they fear him. And if they fear even one human, they should fear what's coming next. Chapter 1. The Architects of the Void. They crafted cosmic palaces of gleaming crystal and obsidian steel, floating in the silent dark between the stars. Their voices echoed through corridors that spanned entire orbital rings, each breath of theirs measured and precise. They spoke of logic and order, of expansion and unity, weaving a tapestry of conquest that covered light years. They called themselves the architects of the void. Their empire was immaculate. They summoned fleets of shimmering vessels that cut through the cosmic black, like shards of moonlight, colonizing planet after planet. Their dominion grew, and so did their confidence. Every civilization they encountered bowed or broke. Stars that once held diverse life forms now bore only the architect's insignia, a delicate spiral of silver etched into every sky. Amid this silent symphony of triumph, the architects regarded humans as myth, a fleeting legend, perhaps a story told to children on blue worlds far from their reach. To them, humanity was an impractical oddity, emotional, unpredictable, disorganized. Nothing in the void could match their cold precision. They had not seen a human. Until now. The cold of deep space pressed against the observation window as the flagship's sensor arrays began to flicker, an anomaly in the perfect stream of data. Something stirred at the edge of mapped territory, a sigil of interference. The helm officer reported readings in patterns that twisted expectations, curves that defied logic. Not calculation, but something else. Something alive. They trained analyzers to probe the signal, but the readings resisted. The scientists grew uneasy. They conferred in hushed tones, uncertain. The artifact pulsed, a rhythmic beat unlike the mechanical hum of their ships. It was primal. It was chaotic. Then the signal coalesced into an image. A lone figure, one human, standing on the barren surface of a world they had deemed unremarkable. The red dust at his feet swirled in a thin breeze that was not accounted for. His posture was steady, his gaze unwavering. The imaging stream captured the rise of his chest, the rise and fall of imperfection. The architect stared at the screen. He was one human. That alone should mean nothing. Yet he stood there, he existed, and he persisted. The scientist who first detected him spoke. Her voice trembled. It was humanity in its most dangerous form, small, fragile, yet irrefragable. She spoke of resistance, as though it were a code, one that defied translation. The Admiral's hand hovered above a panel. His mind fought against recognition. A single human. So inconsequential. Yet here he was. They sent a probe down. It whispered through the atmosphere, gentle as an autumn leaf. It descended until it hovered. It scanned. It trembled. The readings spiked, heartbeats and adrenaline equivalent in electrical spikes that crawled up the circuits. The probe tried to retreat, but then the human reached out a hand. The probe responded, not with static or rejection, but with a pause. It mirrored the human gesture, a reflection of intent, not domination. Above, the architects convened their council. One said that this could be an opportunity, an anomaly to be studied, catalogued, contained. Another argued for containment, then eradication. Humans were emotional, unpredictable. A threat. A third spoke quietly of fascination. Such a small, fragile creature, standing firm on a barren world. What secrets lay beneath that quiet resolve? As the debate raged, the probe's signal went silent. The link severed. No warning, no farewell. Just blackout. On the bridge, the monitors went dark. The red dust, no, the human, no longer answered. The Admiral's heart, if it could be called that, pulsed with anticipation. The unknown, the disturbance. The fact of one human standing against an empire raised questions that could not be erased. A ripple in the silence. On the surface, the red world remained still. The human waited. The secrets he carried were not yet revealed, but they were there, and the void had noticed. And in that silence, the empire held its breath. Chapter 2. The Last Fragment of Earth. He remembered the sky, not the vast cold black of space that loomed above him now, but the old sky, the one that once belonged to Earth. It had been warm. It had colors. It danced with birds and storms, not satellites and ion trails. Sometimes he feared he had imagined it, that his memories were just echoes of a planet that had been scrubbed clean from history. But he wasn't a memory. He was still here. His name had been erased long ago, but the architects had missed one thing when they tried to erase humanity: its stubbornness. And stubbornness had a name. It had eyes that stared back at drones without blinking. It had skin that burned in alien suns and bled without apology. It had fists clenched not in rage, but in remembrance. He was alone, yes, but he was enough. Above him, the orbiting fleet had grown silent. He felt their hesitation. The architects didn't know what to do with something they didn't understand. They had seen a man and hesitated. That meant fear, and fear was something he could work with. He moved through the ruins of a forgotten outpost, one the architects had built on this dust-covered moon decades ago, long before they realized a human had found his way here. Their structures were immaculate, lifeless, every surface polished, every corner at a right angle. There was no dust inside their halls, no marks of life, no laughter. He hated their silence. In one of the chambers, he found a relic, not of theirs, but of his kind. A shattered helmet with the faded insignia of Unit Trzenaczki, Earth's last military expeditionary force before the fall. He knelt beside it, touching the surface with reverence. It wasn't much, but it was proof. He wasn't the first. Others had come, others had fallen, but not him. Not yet. He accessed one of the architect terminals. It should have locked him out. But the system faltered just for a moment, recognizing. An old Earth encryption key burned into his bones, a ghost from the past. The screen flickered. Maps, names, coordinates. But what caught his attention was a word: Sol. The sun, home. It wasn't gone, not completely. The architects hadn't destroyed Earth. They had hidden it. Why? He stood up, breath unsteady. If they had hidden it, they feared it. And if they feared it, it could still be saved. Behind him, the wall hissed. A door opened. He didn't move. A sound followed, almost imperceptible. Not the hum of machinery. Footsteps, soft, careful. Not architect, human. He turned slowly, and there, in the doorway, stood a figure no taller than a child, wrapped in scavenged fabric, face half covered in a visor cracked from age. A voice, small and broken, filtered through the static. "You're real," he nodded. Words failed him. She stepped closer, and in her hand she held something impossible. A flower, a living flower, something green, something from Earth. He stared at it, unable to speak. They said Earth was gone, she whispered. But my mother told me stories. She said we'd return. One day, his heart clenched. Against every law of probability, hope had survived. Not as fire, but as embers. And embers could become wildfires. He reached for the flower, but above them the sky cracked open. The architects had made their decision. They were coming. If you enjoy what I do, leave a sub, a like, a bell, and share our video. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Chapter 3. One life against the infinite, the sky screamed. It tore open not with thunder, but with precision. Architect vessels descended in perfect silence, like daggers falling point first. Geometry in motion. A fleet of obsidian crescents, blotting out the stars above the red moon. Their symmetry was flawless, their intent unmistakable. They had come not to observe, but to eliminate. The man shielded the girl behind him, though he knew it was futile. He had no weapons, no armor, only blood and instinct. But instinct had carried him across void and ruin, through the shattered husks of forgotten colonies, through architect machines built to erase entire histories. Instinct and purpose. He looked down at the flower in the girl's hands. Its petals glowed faintly in the half-light, defiant against the sterile crimson landscape. A reminder that something still lived, something real. They found us, she said, her voice trembling. He nodded. The architect ships hovered above the ruins. No weapons fired, no warning spoken. That wasn't their way. When they acted, they did so with mechanical certainty. No hesitation, no cruelty. Just cold removal. A voice crackled to life in the air. Smooth, emotionless, synthetic. Surrender. The anomaly. He didn't need to ask what they meant. Not the flower, not the girl. Him, the anomaly. The impossible human. The one who had survived where none should. The one they couldn't explain. Surrender the anomaly, the voice repeated. Or be erased. He stepped forward. I'm not going anywhere, he said, loud enough for the sky to hear. Silence followed. Then movement. Thin beams of light shot down from the ships, scanning the ruins. They sliced through walls, melted metal, left the stone untouched. Surgical destruction. Testing his resolve. He turned to the girl. There's a passage, he said. Old maintenance shaft. West wall. Go. I'm not leaving you, she said. You have to. You carry something they fear more than me. She looked at the flower, then back at him. What is it? Proof. A pause. Then she ran, clutching the fragile bloom to her chest. He waited, until she vanished into the wall, then turned toward the sky. The ships began to descend. He ran. Not away, not toward shelter. He ran straight at the central landing vector where the largest vessel prepared to deploy its enforcers, six-legged machines of carbon alloy and cold intellect. The kind that didn't miss, the kind that didn't ask twice, but they hadn't fought him before. He reached into his coat and pulled out a device no larger than his palm. It pulsed softly. A relic from Earth. A spark of old science, half magic now by their standards. He didn't know how it worked, only that it did. He pressed it to the ground, and the ground answered. The pulse spread like ripples through water, invisible to the eye but screaming in every architect's sensor. The ships faltered. Their patterns staggered. One veered slightly off course. Not much, but enough. He sprinted forward, crossed the open kill zone before they could adapt. One of the machines landed, its limbs slamming into the dust like iron bones. It turned toward him. Target acquired. It fired. He dove, felt the beam pass by his shoulder. The heat burned but didn't break. He rolled, came up beneath the machine, and slammed the device into its leg. The pulse surged, the machine screamed, not audibly, but through the vibration in the air, through the way the dust around it lifted, pulled upward by a force it couldn't calculate. It staggered, twisted, then collapsed, joints convulsing as its programming folded inward on itself. One down. The others adjusted, learning. They always did. He ran again. A second machine dropped behind him. Too fast, too precise. It leapt, and was intercepted. A blast of light exploded across the ruins. The machine flared mid-air and fell in pieces. He turned. The girl stood there, holding a weapon far too large for her frame. A pulse cannon, old human tech. Probably salvaged from the ruins, definitely unstable. She didn't even look scared. "Go," she said. He didn't argue. They ran side by side through the skeleton of the old architect base. Every corridor hummed with enemy signals. Every doorway a trap. But they moved fast. Purpose made them faster. "They'll find Earth," she said as they ducked into an alcove. "They already have," he replied. "They just buried it." "Why?" "Because even they know they can't kill what they don't understand." The floor beneath them shook. The structure above groaned. A voice returned. "You are delaying the inevitable. Earth is lost. Humanity is extinct." He looked up at the ceiling, at the invisible speaker. "Then why are you so scared of us?" The voice paused, and in that pause he heard it. Fear. They ran again, deeper into the forgotten complex, searching for a path off-world, anything that could carry the girl and her proof beyond the reach of architect hands. They turned a final corner and stopped. A door stood before them. Ancient. Sealed. Above it, a symbol burned into the metal. Not architect. Not alien. Human. A circle of stars around a single tree. He reached for it. The door began to open. If you enjoy what I do, leave a sub, a like, a bell, and share our video. It means a lot to me. Thank you.